Greetings, everyone, and welcome to SpaceWeek Live, episode 125, on this Sunday, July 24th. So, as always, this is a live Q&A session, so if you have any questions, please drop them in the chat, but make sure to tag my name at @rawspace so we're sure to see them. Let's get right to it. So, last Thursday, I should say, Russian cosmonaut Oleg Artemayev and European Space Agency astronaut Samantha Cristoforetti did a spacewalk together to continue the process of installing the European robotic arm on the new Nauka laboratory module on the Russian side of the space station. Now, it's common for an international partner to participate in a U.S. spacewalk, but it's quite rare for one to put on an Orlan spacesuit and participate in a Russian spacewalk. Cristoforetti is only the fourth European and the first European woman to do so. It was also her first spacewalk, though it's not her first space flight. They were outside the space station for a total of 7 hours, 5 minutes. And obviously this footage here is sped up to 2 times speed for pacing, dramatic effect. That same day, Northrop Grumman conducted a full-scale Flight Support Booster 2, or FSB-2, static test fire at their facility in Promontory, Utah. A pair of these 5-segment solid rocket boosters will provide 75% of the SLS rocket's thrust during the first 2 minutes of flight during the upcoming Artemis missions. This is only 2 minutes. This test is only 2 minutes long, so I'm just going to let it play through, with audio, of course.
Minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, fire. Plus 5.
Now, I could be mistaken, but this may be the most powerful solid rocket booster ever fired. It's it's basically descended from the Space Shuttle SRBs, but it has an extra segment and therefore contains more fuel and can therefore burn longer.
Support systems operator enabled with move CO2 training pool controls.
Controls are enabled.
Open the accumulator enable valve.
Accumulator is enabled.
Activate half deluge.
After it's activated,
Activate forward deluge.
forward move activated.
Now, after the static fire concludes, they have this interesting device that cools off the nozzle and extinguishes the flames.
Posted script has ended. PVC power is disabled.
Plus 160 seconds. Plus 170 seconds. High-speed data operator, stop recording.
Now, let me go full screen here. Oh, he got up.
High-speed recording is complete.
Benny was making biscuits in his bed, but then he jumped up on top of the chair. All right, so then on Friday, SpaceX launched a batch of Starlink satellites from Vandenberg Space Force Base in California. I didn't prefix that description with perpetually foggy, but it applies because it seems to be foggy there every time they launch.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition. And liftoff of Starlink 3-2. Go Falcon 9. Vehicles pushing downrange. M1D chamber pressures are nominal.
So looking down in the rocket cam view of the exhaust from a Falcon 9, it's going to look brown and sooty because the Falcon 9 uses RP1, or refined kerosene, which is a petroleum-based product, as its fuel. And so you're seeing the carbon soot exhaust. Whereas if you were to look down the length of a hydrogen burning rocket like the Delta IV Heavy, you would not see a brown plume but a white plume because its primary product, the primary product of that combustion reaction, is water vapor, which is not brown. All right. Let us go to the landing.
Stage 2 FTS was saved.
We're now coming up to the landing burn for that first stage that you see there.
Stage 1 landing burn.
The first stage has lit one engine, the center engine, to prepare for landing on our drone ship. Of course, I still love you.
Terminal guidance. Stage 1 landing leg deploy.
And picture-perfect touchdown despite the low clouds.
As you can see there on your screen, Falcon 9 has landed, marking SpaceX's 56th first stage landing.
Then, oh boy. Last night, for me, it was afternoon on the other side of the world, a Long March 5B, here, let's, boop, there. China's second most powerful rocket launched the Wentian laboratory module toward the Chinese Tiangong space station. It lifted off from China's southernmost spaceport in Wenchang on Hainan Island in the South China Sea. Now let me find the launch here. Because I had streamed about 10 hours of... I forgot to cue this one up. Apologies. I had streamed about 10 hours of pad views before the launch. Launch has got to be around here somewhere. Here we go.
Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1，点火！点火！起飞，140 2分32秒，动5拐毫秒。140 2分32秒，动5拐毫秒。 阵地遥测信号正常，程序转弯。文昌光学雷达跟踪正常，遥测信号正常，文昌飞行正常。
Now, it was a beautiful launch on a beautiful day from a beautiful island in the south of China, and went off perfectly. We got some amazing views from the rocket, and the broadcasters did an excellent job with their presentation, although I didn't understand a word they were saying. But let me fast forward a little bit to when it got, let's see, booster separation.
跟踪我们的火箭的飞行情况，对，细沙也报告正常。可以看到中间这个
助推器关机，助推器分离。
哎，助推器成功。好，助推器分离。助推是朝4个方向。
阵地112跟踪正常。文昌光学雷达跟踪正常，遥测信号正常，文昌飞行正常。
这个时候是火箭1级还在继续进行推动。
对，它还有工作还有5分钟。
我们现在看到是。
And so this was an SSTO. It was a single-stage to orbit launch, which you don't see too many of those. But so the Long March 5 has 2 stages, up to 3 stages, but the 5B, at least in this configuration, only had a single core stage plus the 4 side boosters. And here we have fairing separation. And so the payload, which is the Wentian laboratory module, was mounted directly to the top of the
流水3901跟踪正常。
the first stage. Now they did show the separation of Wentian.
所以呢，为了降低对这个帆板的冲击，在交会对接时候冲击的影响呢，所以刚开始的时候把它展开这边路网的全展开，减少。
So what we're looking at is the Wentian module with its hand grips from the perspective of the top of the rocket.
和系统都没工作，所以这样的话也都是匹配的。应该快了，
快了。
嗯。
从这个画面呢，我们感觉到整个发射过程好像
好
平静。现在已经是关机了。
舱电分离。
好，终于看到了，这火箭的任务就完成了。所以现在是
舱电分离。好，我们看到
and successful separation. Now, Wentian is scheduled to dock to the Tianhe core module around 3:30 p.m. Eastern, 1930 UTC, just about 15 minutes from now. Not expecting any live coverage of that, but there will be there will be replays available online. The third module, Mentian, is scheduled to launch this October, and a space telescope module called Shunqian is expected to launch in 2023. I'd love to see some of the photos from that. A few hours later, and part of the reason why I'm so tired today, SpaceX launched yet more Starlink satellites from Kennedy Space Center. Oh, and I did forget to mention that the Chinese launch was at about 2:20 a.m. my time, so I was up until past 3. And then up again at like 8 a.m. It's not too bad, but it still threw me off. Plus I got this is totally unrelated, but I finally got my COVID booster yesterday. I'd been meaning to get that for months. I just never managed to do it, but I finally got the booster. I had been double vaxxed last year, but anyway, finally got the booster in preparation for my big upcoming family trip to Europe later in August. And so I'm feeling really off today. A little sick, a little tired, and a little sore. All right. So a few hours later, SpaceX launched yet more Starlink satellites from Kennedy Space Center.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition and liftoff.
Vehicle is pitching downrange. Stage 1 chamber pressures are nominal.
Okay, hold up. Let's rewind a little bit. Is that a Starship launch pad I see under construction there? Interesting. I hadn't seen that before. Very cool. That's a big crane. All right. Anyway, onward.
Stage 1 chamber pressures are nominal.
And the landing.
Terminal guidance. Stage 1 landing burn.
And with the landing burn beginning on the first stage, let's watch as Falcon 9 attempts to land on a shortfall of gravitas.
Stage 1 landing leg deploy. Stage 1 landing confirmed.
Boop. On a shortfall of gravitas.
As you can see on your screen, Falcon 9.
All right, so
26 landing with Falcon 9 first.
Taking a look further back, deep into the archives of space history, this Monday will mark the 38th anniversary of the first female spacewalker, cosmonaut Svetlana Savitskaya, on July 25th, 1983. Tuesday will be 51 years since Apollo 15 lifted off on July 26, 1971, carrying astronauts David Scott, Alfred Worden, and James Irwin to humanity's fourth moon landing. They landed on July 30th and splashed back down on Earth on August 7th. Finally, Friday will mark 64 years since NASA was founded on July 29, 1958. It succeeded the National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics, or NACA, which had been around since 1915. Looking ahead to this week, there is not much, just one launch. On Saturday, July 30th, at 8 p.m. Eastern, midnight UTC on the 31st, China is expected to launch a Zhuque 2 rocket on its maiden flight. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. No live stream for this one. An item of note that's missing from this schedule is Rocket Lab's Antipodean Adventure launch for the National Reconnaissance Office. It was supposed to take place just 10 days after the previous NRO mission, which launched on July 13th. This was intended to demonstrate Rocket Lab's rapid response capability. I'm not sure why the mission is delayed, but I wonder if it will affect their relationship with the NRO. Or maybe not so much, but in any case, it's noteworthy anyway that they failed to meet the 10-day turnaround expectation. All right, so I want to take a moment to heartily thank all of the supporters of the channel. Now, I made a boo-boo, and I neglected to submit my demonetization appeal video before the deadline, which was July 21st, and so I'm unable to submit my a video basically stating my case to YouTube why I don't think I should have been demonetized. But that just means that I'll have to wait until the 1 month mark passes, which I don't even know what day that is, and before I can reapply for monetization. And if they deny that, then I don't recall if there's an appeal if they deny my application or not. But in any case, we'll try to get back to monetization so that you can have your green names and your emojis and all of that. But in the meantime, if you wish to support the channel, there are Patreon, merch store, and PayPal options. Now let's get to your questions. First of all, let's see if the script picked up the questions. All right. Only picked up 2. Maybe people didn't tag my name. Wafikiri, get well soon, Raw Space. Thank you very much. I hope I do feel better soon. And it shouldn't take too long. The booster doesn't pack that much of a punch beyond the first day or so. Julian Roberts, Raw Space and the shuttle decommissioning. I don't recall what the context of that comment was. And then MVM Motovlog Music. Any idea when Rocket Labs expects to try another heli catch? I don't know what their plans are for that, what their schedule is for the next attempted booster catch by the helicopter. They may be having to recalculate things because they've done test catches before, but not until they had their production test a couple of months ago, where they actually caught the booster that had launched, a payload into space. I don't know if the wind conditions were different than when they had tested with their mass simulator earlier or what, but for whatever reason, the helicopter pilot felt that he was experiencing an unexpected level of basically getting tugged around by the booster dangling underneath him. So, yeah, I have no idea when they're going to reattempt that. But in the meantime, they can always descend the boosters on parachutes, the first stage anyway, and fish it out of the ocean, refurbish the parts that they can. All right. Yeah, Bennu. Tig says Kitty is getting fat. No, he's not fat. He's not skinny, but he's average size. I mean, he stays pretty active. He plays a lot, so. All right, so it looks like we're light on questions for this week, but that's okay, because I need to get some rest. So thank you so much for coming, and until next time, keep it raw, and I'll see you later. Let's see if this button works. Yeah. Bye-bye.